What's going on, Boston Celtics fans? Welcome into Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Allie Barefoot, and today we're talking about new reports showing that Kelly Olynyk could be coming back to the Boston Celtics. That's right, Brad Stevens is working his magic, and he's monitoring Kelly Olynyk pretty closely ahead of the NBA trade deadline, which, of course, is in February. Let's go ahead and dive into those reports. This one coming from NBA Insider Marc Stein. He does say league sources say Boston is among the teams that is monitoring Utah's Kelly Olynyk in advance of a potential trade pursuit. This is huge for Boston Celtics fans. Why? Because Kelly Olynyk has already played for the Boston Celtics once before in his career. So if he were to be traded midseason, he'd fit in seamlessly. But the other big aspect of this is that look at the Boston Celtics depth at center. Kristaps Porzingis, who has been playing sparingly for the Celtics throughout the season despite some injuries, and then just taking rest games like against the Golden State Warriors, which I still don't really understand. And then you have Al Horford. Neemias Queta is making a name for himself. You guys know how I feel about Luke Cornett. And then Lamar Stevens has gotten a nod to the starting lineup once this season, but he's still making a name for himself. So Kelly Olynyk, seeing what he's doing for the Utah Jazz, who are currently in the bottom 10 of the NBA Western Conference right now. You got Kelly Olynyk. He's averaging about 8 points per game. His rebounds are exquisite. I love this, especially for a player like Jason Tatum, who is busting his butt every night, being the team's rebounding leader. He's got 5.5 per game. Assists is 4.5. He's shooting nearly 55% from the field, which is incredible for Kelly Olynyk. And then his three-point percentage. I mean, that's not bad for Kelly Olynyk. I like a center that can shoot threes. You guys know I love Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford. So if you could put Kelly Olynyk in that mix, that would be pretty nice. But first, I want to hear from you guys. If you want Kelly Olynyk to become a Boston Celtic yet again, go on ahead and type KO down in the comments. Show him some love and let him know that Boston Celtics fandom is still behind him if he wants to come back. Marc Stein did continue to say, look, Olynyk, meanwhile, is on course to become a free agent in July as he plays out the final season of a 3-year, $37 million deal, and is regarded in some league circles as most likely of the Utah vets to move on at some point during the next 6+ weeks. Why are the Utah Jazz getting rid of Olynyk? They're trying to rebuild. They've got Lauri Markkanen right now. They've got a bunch of younger guys in the team, and they just don't think that Olynyk is really going to fit in with them anymore. So the fact that we do have Olynyk having Danny Ainge, and we have Brad Stevens, Danny Ainge, of course, being the former GM of the Boston Celtics, they could potentially help work something out. But here's the kicker. Kelly is pretty darn expensive. That's what sucks. He's about $12 million a year. Of course, he is on his last contract. So that means the Celtics is going to have to give up a top-paid player beyond the starting six, or they're going to have to dip into those starting six players, which, of course, I don't think any of us would be willing to give them up. However, there have been some reports out there that this is not impossible. Of course, like I said, Danny Ainge is the executive of the Utah Jazz right now, and Brad Stevens is the GM of the Boston Celtics. I mean, they're good friends. They could possibly work up something that's not going to tear both of their teams apart. But nonetheless, Keith Smith of the NBA, he did tweet this out, and I thought it was pretty interesting to see what it would take for the Boston Celtics to acquire Kelly Olynyk without having to dive incredibly deep into their depth. Now, he did say it's hard for Boston to match a $12 million salary because you got to think, Al Horford is $10 million. He's the cheapest of those starting six. Then it drops to $4 million with Peyton Pritchard. There's really nobody in between. So he said it's either going to have to be a trade with a rotation guy in it or stacking together a bunch of players, basically 5, to equal one Kelly Olynyk. So before I dive into 3 possible trades of what the Celtics could do to possibly acquire Kelly Olynyk, I want to hear from you guys. Name a player you would trade for Kelly. Now, don't even worry about the salaries right now. Just let me know what player you'd be willing to give up on the Celtics roster in order to get the old KO back in the green. While you guys are doing that, I do want to tell you about our sponsor on Celtics Today. It is Prize Picks. I play this every single game day. I actually won $75 on Sunday, and I took that straight to the bank. If you guys want to play, all you have to do is go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use promo code CLNS for first-time deposit match up to $100, and you can watch yourself win some real money in real time. It's super easy. It takes less than 60 seconds. All you have to do is pick between 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on their projected stats, and you can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. It adds a little extra thrill to my game days. Of course, I do love putting some prize picks down on NBA games, so I've got Tyrese Halliburton, who's popping off right now in the Eastern Conference. I have him having more than 39.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I mean, that sounds like a lock to me. And then, of course, I got Bogdanovic having more than 3.5 free throws made. I love the free throws picks. I think it's kind of easy money sometimes, but don't tell anybody. That's my little secret. If you guys want to play, all you have to do is go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use promo code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100, and you're going to watch yourself win some real money in real time. So just like Keith Smith said, you're going to have to either put a rotation player in there or give up stackable players. This looks insane because it is. To match Kelly Olynyk's $12 million salary, you have to give up 5 rotation players for the Boston Celtics. That means you're getting rid of Peyton Pritchard, who's $4 million a year, Delano Banton and Svi Mykhailiuk, who are each $2 million a year, Lamar Stevens, and Luke Cornett. This is giving up way too much just to obtain Kelly. You're getting a backup center, and you want to try and give away 5 of your depth pieces. It's a big, fat no from me. But the reason why I put that out there is because I want to show you how many players it would take just to equal Kelly Olynyk. That's giving up an insane amount of depth. Joe Mazzulla would never do that, and the Seeds would be in big trouble if somebody like Drew Holiday or Derek White went down and you're giving away 2 point guards and you're giving away a backup center and some forwards. It's just not worth it. But he also said the other half of that would be to include a rotation player. And this one, when I was creating it, it just broke my heart flat out. There's no way in hell I'm doing this one either. Celtics receive Kelly Olynyk. The Jazz receive O'Shea Brissett, which is fine. He's an up-and-coming player. That's fine. But Al Horford? No, absolutely not. Why do this one? Well, Horford's $10 million and O'Shea Brissett's $2.1. That equals Kelly Olynyk smack dead in the middle at $12.1 million. But you gotta give up Big Al. He's not going anywhere. This man's gonna retire a Celtic. I'll stamp it. I'll put everything I have on it. It's too much to get Kelly Olynyk. So that shows that it's going to be kind of hard to match up this money to be able to obtain Kelly Olynyk to come back to the Boston Celtics right now. While he'd be a great piece, I just don't know if the math is going to work out, but there is a chance. I do have one more trade I'm going to present to you guys, but first, I do want you guys to know that, look, Utah doesn't need to add any more players if they're focused on a high draft pick right now. Olynyk can be waived. Like he said, he's going to be a free agent in July, so Boston can wait just one more season to then go pick up Olynyk. But if I'm Brad Stevens, I need to get everybody I possibly can now because I think this is going to be the season the Celtics win banner 18, and I don't want to wait one more season to have that. So here's the kicker. Here's a trade that could work, but you got to go around your elbow to get your ass for this one. So basically, the first domino that would have to fall is the Celtics would receive Otto Porter Jr., from the Toronto Raptors. Of course, they would get Grant Williams, TPE, $6.4 million. You cannot attach that to an actual player, so you have to give up a draft pick as well just to be able to obtain a $6 million player like Otto, and then you gotta flip him. Then you gotta make a trade with the Utah Jazz, including Otto Porter Jr. So basically taking Otto, never giving him a jersey, never giving him a locker, and then just sending him off to Utah. So this would mean we would get Kelly Olynyk and Michael Potter, and then Jazz would receive Luke Cornett, Otto Porter Jr., and O'Shea Brissett. These are 2 Celtics I would be okay with giving up to the Utah Jazz to get Kelly Olynyk. And plus, you never had Otto Porter Jr. in the first place, so might as well go on and ship him out too. This is what our producer Smitty did cook up in a couple videos ago, but still, after going through the numbers, this makes the most sense to me. But nonetheless, what do you guys think? Which trade do you like the best to possibly get Olynyk back in a Boston Celtics uniform? Type SP for the one that includes 5 Celtics players, the stacking players trade. Type RP if you like the rotation players trade, which included Al Horford and O'Shea Brissett. Or type TPE if you like the one where we get Otto Porter Jr. and immediately send him to the Utah Jazz. Go ahead and type that down below, and while you guys are at it, hit that sub button for me. Anything you need to know about Kelly Olynyk or any other trade that's going to happen to the Boston Celtics, you're going to find it right here at Celtics Today by Chat Sports. So hit that sub button for me.